Hello, fellow followers. Welcome back to FanZcene. Greg here, and today I have for you America's nostalgia and more, fueling physical media sales. Yes, this is something I saw, and it's in the article I'm going to bring up here in a minute. I'm not going to read the whole article, but it's something I saw and I found fascinating. And I'm just going. Okay, I'll just go ahead and bring up this article real quick. It's from Stacker, and it says America's nostalgia economy lifts sales of music, games, and more. This was very interesting. There's just one part about it that gets me a little bit, but I've been curious about certain things, and I'll give you my thoughts. I'm only going to read the first two paragraphs here, and I'll put a link down below if you guys want to go read the whole article. But I want to the first two paragraphs says a lot, and I want to get into that. And it says America's nostalgia economy lifts sales of music, games, and more. From classic rock vinyl to anime-inspired video games, collectibles are enjoying a resurgence. I like to call it a reassessment, fueled by fandom, nostalgia, and even social media buzz. See, so much more than nostalgia. That's why I wanted to add and more. Buyers are seeking out physical media and memorabilia and increasingly finding them on digital marketplaces. This is what the digital marketplaces, please, don't. I'll get into all that. It says analysts estimate the global collectibles market has topped $496 billion in 2025. That's something I want to talk about. The 496 billion collectible market in 2025, driven by cross-generational appeal, scarcity, and the thrill of the hunt. The U.S. collectibles market spans a wide spectrum, music formats like vinyl, records, CDs, and cassettes, physical video games for retro and modern consoles, movie memorabilia and box DVD or Blu-ray sets, limited edition action figures, and Funko Pop figurines, vintage toys, trading cards, sports memorabilia, board games, and other pop culture merchandise. Online marketplaces are amplifying these trends, Temu reports. So I'm going to go ahead and take that off there. And I find it funny that Temu is the one reporting this. Chinese company taking advantage of this resurgence or the reassessment of this physical media reassessment going on, right? But no, which is funny. Please, the digital marketplaces, that can be a gamble, right? I mean, I know what a lot of us go on, you go on eBay and other digital marketplaces and stuff, but scalpers and stuff can make those things, those CDs, the vinyls, the Blu-rays, the DVD boxes, memorabilia shoot up in prices. But there is something to be said about the thrill of the hunt. And what I was finding fascinating is the $496 billion that all this is bringing on from 2025, right? Because like I've talked about here before, and I've been curious about this myself, is that, like, yes, when you buy like an official movie or Blu-ray or DVD or game or book or whatever from like a Walmart or a box store or an Amazon store, those sales are recorded, and those sales are recorded in graphs and stuff, and that's where you get the people saying, well, if you look here, physical media sales are down, way down here. It's so physical media is dead. It's dead. It's dying. It's done. It's sold. But see, nobody's taking into account all these physical media sales and memorabilia sales and stuff like this of all these things, CDs, video games, Blu-rays, DVDs, VHS box sets, and all that from these secondhand stores or even digital marketplaces, right? They're not taking into these because some of these are used. People bring them in, they turn them in, the stores buy them, and they pay people money, and then they turn around and sell those, and they make the profit and everything, right? So like we've been talking about, like Night Owl Video or Static Tape Video, and all these video stores and secondhand stores and stuff like that have started to open and sell physical media and stuff here on the channel. So they never really take into account these sales. And I find that very curious because it's clearly people are going back to some extent to physical media, to physical tangible items of certain things, action figures, games, vinyl, CD, records, VHS, DVD, Blu-rays, memorabilia, right? They're going back to that. And I think that, I think the masses, so this is something I think people get hung up on, is like, they'll say like, well, the masses will always be digital and streaming and everything. Yes, the masses are lemmings. You don't have to be a part of the masses. Just because the masses are doing it does not mean that there are still not people out there who still want physical media, that are coming to it, still doing it, still buying it. Yes, I could sit here and list a million different problems that people complain about prices and about scarcity and everything. And yes, and that can be very aggravating, very aggravating. don't get me wrong, it can be very, very, very aggravating. But also at the end of the day, I would much rather buy a physical, tangible object, and if I have the money, I'm going to buy it. I don't care. I will buy it, and if I can find it, and I will get it, and I will buy it. And I'm not opposed to going out to like a Goodwill or a secondhand store or a thrift store or these stores that I'm talking about. I'm not so much for like a lot of these digital marketplaces, which Timo is clearly using these figures, like I mentioned in that the 469 billion. They're clearly using people's nostalgia and fandom and want for these things to manipulate the digital marketplace for them, which is that's that's what gets me. I'm not a fan of that. But I think here in America, and I'm sure abroad in the world, there's this thing you can feel it. There's this thing happening, right? People are getting fed up with like this digital and streaming era, the future, right? It's very sterile. It's very still. It's not what they envisioned. It's not what they wanted. There's so many of us from the younger generation to my generation who, like from the younger generation, who's never even experienced physical anything, right? Never in all forms, physical anything. They've only known digital and computers and all this like that. And there's people in between them and my age who and myself in my group, who experienced the physical and then the change over the digital. And maybe some of those people at times gave up their physical and regret it. And now they want to go back to physical. And there's people like me and older who still buy physical, who never let that go, who never wanted it, who never wanted to let it go. And I think you see that. I think there's this change of brewing. There's people long for touch, right? They long for something physical, something tangible, something they can have, something they own. Maybe it is nostalgia. There is nostalgia to it. There's very much a lot of nostalgia to this. So something maybe you grew up watching and you want to have or see. I was just thinking about how some people are starting to become nostalgia for the early 2000s, and I think that's a lot of the kids. The younger generation, everything, and maybe they want to have those cartoons and stuff they grew up with on a physical copy or something, right? And they want this and they want that. And in some cases, people, they've had to Spotify and they go, well, what's a CD like? What's a vinyl like? And then there's people like me who, that's one of the reasons why I do this channel, is I can be like, hey, you know what? That stuff's out there. It's available. You can find it. You can buy it. You don't always have to go to the digital marketplace, Temu. You don't have to do that. It's out there. You can find it. You can buy it. Can it be a little bit difficult? Yes, but also there is this thrill of the hunt. That is something. There is a thrill of a hunt of trying to find something. It's a people longing for something familiar, something of what it once was, and people longing for trying to find that familiarity for the very first time, young and old, right? And I find it funny that we've reached this point, that there's something of a change a brewing, and I think all this to me proves that physical media is not dead or dying. Yes, like I said, there's going to be people saying, well, why would I go out and buy this? Why would I do that when I can do this, when I can do that? And, I can get digital movies, I can get Spotify and all that. Well, yeah, go ahead, do that. By all means, do that. But there's people like me and those younger kids and older people and men and women of all types who are longing for something that they can actually have, something that's just not going to be sterile, digital, and not even exist in years to come. Right? I don't think they will. I think that's going to move on to something else eventually. I feel like with all this stuff coming up with Amazon being sued about not being on digital thing, is that eventually it's just going to be okay. You can no longer buy these, which you're not even buying in home, and it's a prolonged rental. Eventually, it's just going to be like either stream it or rent it. That's it, you know. And I can't do that. And I'm loving to hear that $496 billion in 2025 has gone to like vinyls, video games, and CDs and DVDs and Blu-rays and memorabilia and everything. I don't like that Temu and all these digital marketplaces are capitalizing off of that and guaranteed to drive up the prices and make it harder to find these things. But I do like that there are video stores coming back. Like I've talked about, I put a link to the video somewhere. I'm sure you'll see it when I put it on here, where I've talked about these video stores coming back and people and they're selling these physical media and stuff like that. I'm glad those still exist, and I'm glad we can still have this physical while we still can. And I don't believe it's dead or dying or going anywhere. I think it's being reassessed, and it's making a bit of a resurgent, reassessment, whatever you want to call it. But let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. Do you guys still buy physical? Will you buy physical again? Will have it inspired you to buy physical? Physical, say the words wrong. But let me all know all that in the thoughts and comments section down below. And if you like what you saw here, maybe consider hitting that like button or subscribing, hit that bell for notifications. That'd be awesome. If you're your guys' subscriptions, possibly share this video out for everybody to see or join and become a channel member. Because that would help out my channel immensely. Thank you and shout out to all my channel members. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Thank you guys being channel members here and for all of your support. And to everybody watching, whether you like me, hated me, or like this video or hated this video, I thank you for sticking this long. Wherever you all are, please have a great, safe, happy, healthy day, morning, afternoon, evening, and night. Always support physical media and the things you love because they truly are the superior format now more than ever. Godspeed.